introducing you to Gardening 101. This is my presentation for a conference where I'm gonna help other families learn how to garden. And so we have here a picture of a family out gardening. There's nothing more fulfilling than gardening with your family. It's kind of a lost art as we've advanced into video games and all the fun stuff that you can go to do, like bowling with arcades. Bottom line, gardening is a great family team building activity. Okay, so we're going to start with the scriptures here. The first one, and the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Now that's from Genesis. Does anybody want to read the second one, audience?
You.
I'm the audience. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit thereof. And that one's from Jeremiah. And audience, third one.
You.
I'm now the audience again. Okay, yay. And the herb and the good things which come of the earth, whether for food or for raiment or for houses or barns or orchards or for gardens or vineyards. And that's from Doctrine and Covenants. Okay, there's a theme here that I want to focus on, and it's highlighted in yellow. Can you read the theme for me?
Barns.
Close. Gardens. So we have a theme of gardens throughout the scriptures in Genesis, Jeremiah, Doctrine and Covenants. We know that the Lord was a gardener. He planted the garden. He got it ready for us to live here. And so we know that as sons and daughters of God, we have that divine ability in our life to be able to be gardeners. With work and dedication, we can be just like our Father in heaven. Okay, my backyard before my garden. Beautiful. It was amazing, and it was a typical Arizona backyard garden. And so, along with some classes and things, I had this idea of what I wanted to do, and so I slowly convinced my husband that that's something that we would do with our backyard. And he eventually got on board, and I'll show you what it looks like now. And believe me, it truly is beautiful. You can see the hummingbird feeder right here. I loved watching the hummingbirds and the bees that visited the flowers and the bushes. Okay, so here is my next Facebook profile face. My IT guy was able to perfect that for me on screen and freeze it right there. All right, so I'm going to give you a tour of our backyard. So we went ahead and removed all the rocks that were back here in the grass. This happened over a period of time, so just don't think this is going to happen for you overnight, or if you choose not to do this in a different route, that is entirely possible because it's a lot of work removing rocks. So we went ahead and put bark down everywhere, and to maybe create a better microclimate, because rocks produce a lot of heat and vegetables don't grow very good at the heat around the rocks. And so over here we have little wells. We still have our irrigation system for the grass and the plants that were out here. So this is where we could put our trees, and it's also an area that worked well for us in our backyard. Hopefully it'll shade some of that area that way. So we get a lot of sun during the summer that hits our backyard from here. It comes up over the backyard and then sets over there, so it just blasts us all day from morning till night. Okay, so we have this is our goji berry, a random potato plant that I planted in the ground from potatoes I got from the store. They for dinner, they sprouted, and I just stuck them in the And then over here is my spinach patch. This is my winter spinach patch. I'm trying corn, and I actually got the corn to grow pretty good, but it was not something our family really enjoyed as much as spinach, so I chose spinach. And so you'll find that there's overlapping periods of growth and what you can grow, and you're just gonna have to pick and choose what your family likes.
Just so you know,
and if
corn is actually the
I just
next,
really
I was wrong,
like,
corn is the next crop that I will be
I
planting.
did a whole giant shopping bag full of spinach and gave it to the neighbor, and it still has some for our family and for dinner and to put in the freezer. Just the other night, and it's already back again. So there's some more of the sugar cane along there. I have rosemary here. Rosemary grows great. And then over here, I actually have a strawberry in here, and it's a nice. Just put 4 pieces of wood together and attach it, and it makes a great flower bed. And so these are actually not weeds. These are I had a flower mixture in here during this summer, and it grew amazingly well. And I just
It's actually an edible flower mixture I got from Greg's Urban Farm and the Great American Seed App, and you'll see that later.
And then these are peas. I grow peas every year about this time in the fall and winter, and I just have really good success. I get a pretty good amount of peas on a
And I've
regular
tried a
basis.
multiple variety of peas, and I found that many of them grow great here in Arizona during
There's another strawberry
fall.
plant. I haven't gotten any strawberries off of it yet, but I'm hoping that once the weather gets a little warmer, that will happen, and then the roots will be established, and it'll just be ready to make strawberries. So this is actually carrots, and I'm sure that they're not very big right now. I could probably wait until they get a little bigger. I wonder if I didn't plant them a little late in the season.
I planted them a little too close,
So-
is what I think it was.
All right. And then these are our grapevines. They look not very well right now, but this is their dormant season, so this is what they're supposed to look like. So we have 3 along here. This one is actually smaller than these 2 because the heat over in that corner and over in that corner get really intense, even in a mild part of the year, and so it's just not the best growing area over here. This is actually better for the grapes, and so you'll see the difference in growth along the plants here. And these are just 3 different varieties, or 2 different varieties of carrots, and then radishes.
I've actually pulled the radishes because it's time to move on. In fact, it should have been at the end of February is the best planting for a lot of the things I could put in those potters. Kind of overlap.
We'll see how that grows. I hear blackberries or berries in general don't grow very well, so nothing I have put in this has grown very well. It's actually ended up dying every summer because the heat is so intense. So I'm hoping that the sugar cane will actually help, and that this is just a hardy plant and it'll be able to survive.
I also want to talk my husband into putting a shade over
I
that.
remember for the life of me what tree I planted here, and it doesn't look like it's doing too well. So we'll see once spring comes around if it'll snap back out of it. It's still not bent in the wood, so that means it's not dead. So I'm hoping it'll bounce back once winter's over. And then this right here is that's like a cherry, like a dessert. It's not an actual cherry, but it is like a goji berry.
Barbados
Just
cherry
bitter, like
is who we saw on the
like
screen.
antioxidant
So I remembered right after the video.
other things with it. This is lemongrass. So I wish you were here. It smells amazing. So I love the smell of lemongrass. And then along here, we have my plants. And this is actually the best growing area for the plants. Once you get down here, I don't know, I can't ever get these ones to grow very well. I don't know what it is about this area, but they just don't like it. So all the ones over here you'll notice are amazing. All the ones down here, not so amazing. Except of course the aloe, which it doesn't need much, doesn't require much in Arizona. So these are the tomatoes. Looks like I have a couple tomatoes on here.
So that is good. Tomatoes are a lot of work for me. I'm not very good at growing tomatoes. All right, and that's it.
Okay, so you can see we have that tour of my backyard. This is just one example of what you can do. I was inspired by a tour of Jake Mace's Longevity Gardens in Phoenix, as well as Greg Peterson's Urban Farm in Phoenix. And so from that, I kind of chose to do this with my backyard. But you can do something different. Just start where you can. Okay, so I've mentioned Greg Peterson a couple times, and he owns the Urban Farm in Phoenix. And I put a link to the page up here, which will be on your sheet, one of your handouts that you got. He, on his website there, he has podcasts. Great way to learn about gardening is to listen to his podcasts. He's got a lot of visitors with a lot of knowledge, and they go over a lot of things that I won't touch base on today. So he has citrus tree sales and deciduous fruit tree sales that are good to grow here in Arizona in our climate. And so you can see the dates when you can purchase that was be open in September, but when you pick it up, it's October or January, just depending on the type of fruit tree you order. He has some classes that he offers. I went to a worm composting class there. I don't know if he still offers that one. It was a few years ago. But I composted my own castings for about 3 years, and then I had some things come up. So I actually sold it for, not a bad price. Greg Peterson, urbanfarm.org, and he is the best person at customer service that I have ever met. He will answer a question no matter how ridiculous you think it might be, and he is so helpful and kind. So I would go on to his website and sign up for his emails. These emails tell you when the fruit tree happens, when the classes begin, when his podcasts come out, give you all sorts of good information. That could be a place where you start if that's easier for you, or easy for you. You can start there. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Great American Seed Up, which is where I got a whole bunch of great seeds, and so I'll go ahead and let this explain a little bit of what this is.
You have to click on the video.
I am fired up, let's go! We are in for an epic event here. What we're doing in here is we have 60 different varieties of seeds, and people pretty soon are going to be coming in and scooping them up. It is an amazing way to invigorate your community with inexpensive seeds. It's called the Great American Seed Up.
This is the Great American Seed Up, and we've got seeds here, almost 70 varieties of regionally adapted and native seeds that will grow really well here in Arizona. We are offering them to the public at really low prices. This is a perfect way of getting the amount of seeds I need and good quality seeds.
I decided to attend the Great American Seed Out because we have a new community garden in Fountain Hills, and I'm here to pick up seeds for our members.
I often order seeds from other places, but they have to get shipped in, and sometimes they don't work as well as the seeds that are coming here from the Great Seed Up. So very happy to be here today.
I had such a great time last year, and I knew it was the best place to get seed that does well in Arizona.
You don't have to guess about whether or not they're going to be successful here, and you also can get enough to experiment in case you have to do some succession planning because of failures. You'll have enough seed to do that with.
It's just a wonderful stress reliever with the garden.
I'm excited to grow my own food so that my children can see where food comes from and be part of the process.
Growing your own food is one of the most revolutionary things that we can do at this point. If you're growing your own local food in your backyard, in your front yard, it is traveling feet rather than thousands of miles to get to your plate. And that is one of the most important, most revolutionary things that we can do right now.
We choose to buy our seeds here because we're getting value for our money. Instead of spending $4 for a little tiny package of seeds, we're getting scoops of seeds.
There's so much variety here. Such a great deal, and the camaraderie is great. It's fun to see fellow gardeners, network with other people that are excited doing this, get everything you need, and then learn how to save your own seeds. And I don't know of any place where you can get all of them in one plant.
I would recommend anyone coming here who likes to garden, whether it's a small garden, a large garden, doesn't matter.
Woo, yes, definitely, everybody should come.
I would absolutely recommend that everybody attend the Great American Seed Out because this is a fun event to attend. We're going to learn all kinds of things about seed saving and all kinds of things about gardening.
Okay, so that is one of the best places to get seeds. Like she mentioned, or they mentioned, at low prices. Seeds that you can plant here in Arizona, and they're viable. They have a great success rate. So I have a link right here, and that link will give you information on the Great American Seed App. It starts in September. The slide before talked about Greg's email address. If you have any questions, you can email him. I know in years past they've looked for volunteers to help out with the event too, so that could be a great way to get involved in the gardening, planting, seed community around here. It is in Phoenix, but it's worth the drive and it's worth the effort to get there. As far as quantity of seeds, you get a big package and it lasts year after year, just depending on how big your garden is. I mean, it's a great deal. So remember, when you get your seeds, get things your family's gonna eat. So if they don't like okra, don't get okra. Okay, this next thing is Greg Peterson's fruit tree program, and I've ordered several trees from Greg Peterson. In fact, the goji berry plant and the desert gold peach plant, well, he sells the desert gold peach, but the goji berry plant is from him, and the blackberry plant. And I actually had a fig plant and everything else, but I rearranged my yard a couple times, long story. But I have had his plants and they grow amazing.
Welcome to the Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program. This is a program I've been running for over 15 years, delivering fruit trees out to the community for people to grow food right in their yard. Today, we're delivering fruit trees. We're delivering grapevines, we're delivering pomegranates, figs, all kinds of great plants for you. Plus, we have compost, we got fertilizer, so come and join us. We've had a record year this year. We're going to deliver over 3,000 fruit trees of all kinds.
Get your trees of quality, and that's why I come back. I don't buy trees anywhere else, but they're great. And the selection is just growing every year, and it's wonderful.
This is my first time picking up fruit trees.
A lot of this is driven because of my fruit allergies and my family's fruit allergies, so we know exactly what we're growing and eating.
I think it's really important for us to start sourcing our food locally here in Phoenix so that we can build a more sustainable society. It's really important to me because I have a child and his world is going to look a lot different from mine. I know that.
Expectations for growing are that I would like to try to plan it out so I have fruit for most of the year for my family.
There is lots of quality and lots of variety for growing fruit trees, especially here in the low desert of Arizona.
You know, everybody's favorite fruit tree is really one of my favorite fruit trees. It's called the Desert Gold Peach, and here's the deal with the Desert Gold
That's
Peach.
what I was saying, he loves the Desert Gold Peach.
They ripen about May 15. And if you don't eat it like this when it's ripe, you're going to get peach all the way down here. It is absolutely wonderful peach trees.
So which trees did you pick up today?
Today I picked up a 3-pack of peaches.
They all seem to pick up peaches.
12 peach trees.
I've got 5 different kinds of peach trees.
3 peaches.
I'm purchasing a peach tree. And
big reason I like fruit trees is because you plant them once and you get fruit. And you get
They
fruit,
have more
and you
than
get fruit,
peach trees,
and you get
believe
fruit,
me.
And you get fruit.
And look at the list online.
If you get one tree, it's a little addictive and you want to get more.
What inspired you to start purchasing and growing your own fruit trees?
What inspired me to buy fruit trees is I love to eat. I love good, fresh fruit.
What inspired me was Greg. I started with going to some of his classes, attending his tour of his urban garden, and got excited. And my first purchase was like 26 trees.
Greg Peterson inspired me. I've been going to his Urban Farm lectures Thursday night at the Duck.
Welcome to the Urban Farm. My name is Greg Peterson, and this is my home. I've lived here for 25 years. I like to call it an environmental showcase home. So one of the most important things you can do to be successful at growing fruit trees in the desert.
So you can
is
see
actually
his
put
layout
trees
is
around.
completely different than
And
mine.
add
You pick and choose what works good
This is
for
an
you.
apple
He has those in little
And they
raised
need to be
beds,
pruned in
his
the
fruit
winter.
trees,
I
which is
designed
kind of
this
awesome.
program, the Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program. I designed it to deliver the fruit trees to you right when it's time to plant them. For me, this is really my life work, and it's a gift for me to be able to
You can
deliver
see his
it to
garden
the
kind of back
community
in
and
that back
people
there,
feel
by his
excited
house.
about their fruit trees and getting them in the ground and actually growing food.
The Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program begins September 1st each year. To participate, you can discover how the program works, then take a class either online that's pre-recorded, or better yet, come in person. Then you can simply order your trees for delivery in January and February. Visit urbanfruittrees.org right now for more information.
Alright, so you may think that I am here to sell you Greg Peterson's products, and that is not the case. I have bought his products over the years. He's reliable, and like I said, he offers great customer service. I think over the years, even after I brought a fruit tree a couple years later, I sent him a picture of my fruit tree, and he was like, within that day, he answered back, and thoughtfully and respectfully. So if you want to buy something, and you also need a kind of almost a master gardener to go with it, he may not be a master gardener, but he does know about the stuff that he sells. Okay, so the other option for seed ordering, which I've used, is it's called Heirloom Seeds. You go online, it's Heirloom Seeds, so you can't see it's Heirloom Rare Seeds. And so I should probably put that on there. But anyways, here's a couple links that will be on your sheet that I handed out to you. The seeds here are good in several different climate zones. So when you order, you have to order one specific for our climate zone. I think our zone is like 7 to 9. And so you want to make sure you stay within that zone. Otherwise, it's just not going to grow well or at all here. So another seed option, which is closer to home. So you have the one in Phoenix, which is the Great American Seed Up. You only get that in September, and you get Strive to Phoenix. So the one before that was a catalog. You can order it online. You can have it shipped to your house. You don't have to go anywhere. But they're just a small amount of seeds in a packet. Shipping is free though. This option is go down to White Tank Library. And they actually have a seed library where you can put stuff in and take stuff out. You don't have to put stuff in. That's fine. You can just take stuff out. You do need a library card in order to check out the seeds, and they usually only let you have like 3 varieties at a time. So that's another option. I've gotten seeds there before. The seeds haven't worked out as well as the other 2 locations I've gotten seeds. They grow almost 100% success rate for me every time. I mean, their success rate is amazing. And so this not so much, but then again, it might have been my error because I'm not the greatest gardener. I'm still learning. Again, I'm not the master gardener, but these are things that I've learned along the way. Okay, so the next slide here, we're going to talk about where to find a master gardener. So Maricopa County District Library, I was having trouble with my grapes, and I was like, oh, what do I do? And I remember seeing that we had a Master Gardener question and answer session at the White Tank Branch Library, which is the one down here. And so I went and asked them about my trees or my grapevines, and they gave me a couple possible solutions that I could try out. They actually sent me to a great information page, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But again, they have them periodically, so you just look online. Here's the event calendar. Here's a link. It'll be on your sheet. They also have other Master Gardener series over at the Fairway branch and the Litchfield Park branch if you want to drive over there. And you can see, get some more variety. One of the things I will have you do is set goals today. So whatever here sparks your interest and where you want to move forward with your gardening, whether it's just go talk to a Master Gardener, go to a class, or listen to a podcast, keep that in mind. So we'll be doing that at the end of our presentation here. Okay, so another amazing place that we can find classes and find information about gardening and even beekeeping if you want to, is the Arizona Worm Farm. Again, it's in Phoenix, but it is so awesome. Actually, Cricket has given me a couple of my queen bees that I've used on our hives. And they have some great classes. If you are interested in beekeeping, which I'm not going to talk about today, there's that intro to beekeeping, but they have gardening 101, tomato growing 101, which I should take. And then a tour of the worm farm. If you want castings, that's a great place to go. That's local. You don't have to order it. Who knows where it comes from. You can learn about worm composting and backyard composting. I would really like to take the backyard composting class. So anyways, there's a links to where you can find the calendar for that and more information, and that'll be on your sheet. So the great information that the Master Gardeners gave me was the Arizona Extension for Cooperative Extension at Arizona University in Maricopa County, and I have a sheet that I'm handing out to you, and it'll have all the information that you need to find the like where they sent me to find out more about my grapes was these extensions. So if you want to find out about what you're growing, most likely in Arizona is at one of those extensions. So I have the sheet that has all the different information that they provide for you. So right here, the Maricopa County Master Gardeners Association also offers a Master Gardener's Help, but it's only once a month. And so you see March, April, May, June, that's the next sessions. You can actually call in, you don't have to drive over there. I have been over there, I've been working in their garden. They have a volunteer day. I learned about edible weeds that day. It was kind of amazing. So there are weeds in here in Arizona that are edible. So if you want to learn more about what to grow here in Arizona, how to grow, that is another option for you. They have all these classes right here. Now I'll cut off a little bit what they are, and I can read those to you. I don't have the sheet with me right now, but I will in my actual presentation. But these are, here's a link to the events that you can find it for yourself, and that'll also be in your handout. And that is in Phoenix again, but it's worth the drive. Okay. So what does the church have to say about gardening? Well, first of all, they have some advice on planning your garden. They say, as you begin to plan and prepare for a garden, they want to give you a few general reminders, and they're really good reminders. One of them is that your vegetables will need at least 6 hours of sunlight. That's not really hard here in Arizona, but there are some of the parts of your house that may not get sun. That doesn't happen in my backyard. The next one is the garden site should be relatively level. If there's a steep slope, run a row of plants across it to prevent erosion. So we don't have any steep slopes in my backyard, but I do know some church members that do have a steep slope, so this might be good advice for them. It is a good idea to mix your soil, your topsoil, with organic matter such as manure, peat moss, and other beneficial soil, and that is definitely true. You want to make sure you mix native soil with your organic matter, and then maybe even some nutrients like some mycorrhiza or some minerals. They have some mineral powder, which is really good to mix in your soil. So be careful with fertilizers. All fertilizers have a 3-digit code. If you're going to use it in your garden, you want to look for 888-16-16-16. Read up on your plant, make sure it needs fertilizer, and then at what time of their growth it needs fertilizer, because that's important. You don't just put it on willy-nilly like I did, because that doesn't work very well. Okay, so the simplest way to eliminate plant pests is to remove the insects by hand. So gardening can be very labor intensive. Like if you do Brussels sprouts or some of those, they get a lot of aphids, and so you have to go out and remove the aphids by hand if you really want to keep them off your plants. You have to go out and pick them off by hand and then apply some powder or bug spray. You can't just leave it on there and apply powder or bug spray and expect it to go away magically. That's what I did, and it just got worse. It would just get incrementally worse. It may have slowed it down some, but you have to pick off the bugs. Okay, proper depth for planting seeds is approximately 4 times as deep as the seed is thick. So yeah, if you want your seed to reach the surface, or if you want it to grow, you need to make sure you plant it the right thickness. So it talks about gardening containers. If you don't have a traditional garden plot, you can do balconies, roofs, window sills. There's multiple ways. In fact, I'm not going to get into it today, but they have tower gardening, which I have a Facebook page that I am part of, and it's a really intense flower gardening, tower gardening. I'm sure there's some more simplified ones. You can find a YouTube video that would probably be amazing to help you with tower gardening. Or you can just have little herbs, like my son has a herb plant growing in his windowsill, super easy, that you can do at home. So here is the link to the church's little bit of information here on gardening. And they also provide a really inspirational video called Desolate Land Blossoms, and it really fits our situation here in Arizona because we have interesting desert climate conditions for growing plants. So let me start that for you.
I'm a Kiowa Indian. I lived here all my life, about 68 years. It's been a hard life.
People look around here and think that, you know, they can't grow nothing because of the drought. The ground is not productive.
You struggle because of the harshness. Sometimes the temperatures are over 114 degrees, no shade. You have severe high winds, lack of rain. All those things are elements against you.
We do have lots of alkaline salt soils in our area, sandstones, and we have erosion problems. This was a very undesirable place to be.
About 6 years ago, I planted out tilling the ground, and it didn't yield what I wanted it to do. And then this year, I talked with Elder Sorensen, and he told me that they were going to have a get-together concerning a garden. Thereafter, I attended all the garden sessions, and I was able to learn how to plant a garden. I got some seeds, and then I proceeded to plant my garden.
The garden project is such a great blessing to our people here in Kayenta and on the reservation here in our state.
What we're trying to do really out here is we want to make this place blossom temporally, physically, and we're doing that.
Now that is a gardening in the backyard that I would love to have. Some people might have that much room in their backyard. Your boss.
I jumped. I went there for my people.
My first time gardening, and it's been quite an experience in regards to learning how to work together and the effort that it takes to put something like this together, and just a lot of learning, a lot of responsibility, and a lot of love.
It brings the family together, it unites us, we work together, we enjoy the fruits that are produced.
We learned about it through our Provident Living classes in regards to being more self-reliant. It's allowing people to see that they can actually be self-sufficient and be able to save on their budget.
And it brings about the great squashes that we see, the colorfulness of it, the corn that helps us know that there is hope for all of us.
I realize what I can do with my own hands and show my kids and my grandkids.
It's inspiring for everybody to take a seed and watch it grow and bring it to harvest. that puts you in touch with God.
You know, I've been inactive for a long time. And for me to be able to actually do something like this, I'm just really grateful that I'm able to do it, to taste it and to eat the produce that I've planted, that I've done myself. I'm really grateful.
I love the garden. When you're a mother, when you're a wife, your appreciation for life is seen from a different perspective. And your prayers are different. Your prayers for your children, your prayers for your garden, your prayer for the land and for the rain. And my relationship is different with my husband, with my children.
When you see something growing and it's good, you're all excited. You're watching this seed that you put into the ground and all of a sudden it pops up. And then there's growth there. And it continues to grow and it's matured now. And I think we've done a good job.
Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is goal setting. So whenever I go to a gardening class, I feel so overwhelmed. Where do I start? What am I going to do? So we're just going to think about one thing that is doable for our life, doable for our schedule, and doable for our family to get us closer to that goal of gardening. So whether it be planting an herb plant in your house, or listening to a podcast, or going to one of these classes in Phoenix, or just visiting the White Tank Library. If anything like this sparks an interest, that's what you want to set your goal for, and you want to set a time for it. So like when you will get this done, make it reasonable and specific.
My goal right now is to learn to tie a shoe.
You don't know how to tie a shoe yet?
No.
That's fantastic. Are you excited to learn?
Yeah.
Do you think everyone should know how to tie a shoe?
Mhm.
Can't someone just live with Velcro their whole life? Do you have any goals in life?
Goals? Honestly, I don't have many goals. Sometimes to be a better person. My goal is to be a really good dancer and like have confidence in myself. To win and to make my family proud of me. I want to be a really A student, which I am already an A student, but I want to like get even better marks.
You want to be A++?
Becoming a successful sparring bot owner. I would say nothing.
Beautiful. Love that. I won't lie to you, I was a C and D student. I did terribly in school.
That's okay.
How are you going to accomplish that goal?
I owe money for the robot, so I need exactly $80,000.
It was my dream to have 10 boxes of pizza and then eat them in 15 minutes.
Brilliant. I think that is an attainable dream. Is it okay for people not to have goals?
Well, it's okay, but it's a bad idea.
If they have no goals, they really have nothing to do, nothing to accomplish.
If they don't have any goals in life, then they're just gonna like sit on the couch just watching TV, and then they're just gonna die while watching the TV.
Right.
You know, right?
I feel like everybody has a dream, so by telling them it's achievable, I think that will motivate them. You have your chance in life. From kid to teenager to adult to senior, you have that chance in life. If you don't have a goal in life, you don't have a chance to live at all.
Wow. That's intense. That's real intense.
Yep, very.
All right. That's the end of my presentation here. So go ahead and stop the video and see how long it